Beneath the deep blue sea, where sunlight shimmers like dancing gold, there lived a young mermaid, the youngest daughter of the Sea King. She was the most curious of all her sisters, always dreaming about the world above the waves, while others loved the treasures of the sea, like gleaming pearls and sunken gold. She longed to see the skies, the stars, and the people who walked upon the land. Each day, she would rise to the surface and gaze at the world beyond. She watched ships with great white sails glide across the water, listened to the distant laughter of sailors, and imagined what it would be like to live among them. But most of all, she dreamed of something the sea could never give her, a human soul that could live forever. Her grandmother had told her that while mermaids turn to sea foam, after 300 years, humans have immortal souls that ascend to the heavens. This thought filled her with a deep and restless yearning. One dark night, a terrible storm struck the ocean. Lightning flashed across the sky. Thunder roared like a giant's voice, and a great ship was tossed upon the furious waves. From a safe distance, the little mermaid watched in terror. Suddenly, she saw a young prince fall into the churning sea. Without a thought for her own safety, she swam through the raging waters and caught him just before he could sink into the dark depths. She carried him to shore, her heart pounding with a feeling she had never known. She laid him gently upon the sand, brushing the wet hair from his face. As he slowly opened his eyes, she heard footsteps approaching. Before he could see her, she slipped back beneath the waves. But her heart was forever changed. She had fallen in love. From that day on, she thought only of the prince. She would swim to the shore every evening, hoping for just a glimpse of him. She wanted to walk beside him, to hear his voice, to dance with him under the moon, and to share his world. But mermaids cannot live on land, nor do they have immortal souls. Her longing grew so strong, so desperate, that she decided to visit the only one who could possibly help her, the feared sea witch. The sea witch lived in a dark, swirling cave, hidden in the deepest part of the ocean, surrounded by strange, grasping creatures and eerie, glowing plants. Her voice echoed like a whisper from the deep. "I know what you want," she hissed as the mermaid approached. "I can give you legs to walk among men," said the witch, "but it will cost you dearly." The little mermaid listened, trembling. "In exchange for your beautiful voice, you shall have legs. I will take your tongue, so you will be forever mute. But that's not all. Every single step you take will feel as if you are walking upon the sharpest knives." The witch's eyes gleamed. "And there is one more thing. If the prince marries another, your heart will break, and at the dawn of his wedding day, you will dissolve into sea foam." The little mermaid trembled with fear. Yet her love for the prince was stronger. She agreed. She drank the bubbling potion, and a pain so sharp it felt like a sword shot through her body. When she awoke on the shore, her shimmering fishtail was gone, and in its place, she had 2 human legs. The prince found her there, wandering by the sea. He was instantly captivated by her gentle eyes and graceful silent beauty. He was kind to her, though she could not speak a word to tell him who she was or how she had saved him. She danced for him, and her dancing was more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. But with every leap and every twirl, she felt an agony like fire, a pain she hid behind a loving smile. Day by day, she followed him everywhere, her heart full of hope that he might see the love in her eyes and feel what she felt for him. But though he cared for her deeply, calling her his little foundling, he saw her only as a dear friend, a sweet child, never as the one he would love. One day the prince came to her with joyful news. He told her he was to marry a princess from a neighboring kingdom, the very princess he believed had saved him from the shipwreck. He didn't know that the princess had simply found him on the shore After the mermaid had left, the little mermaid's heart shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. It was she who had rescued him, but she could not tell him. The wedding was grand, the ship filled with lights, music, and celebration. She stood by the prince's side, holding the bride's train, and smiled through her unshed tears. That night, as the ship sailed under the stars, her sisters rose from the sea, their faces pale with sorrow, and their long hair cut short. They gave her a silver dagger, a gift from the sea witch. "We gave our hair for this," they whispered. "If you plunge this into the prince's heart before sunrise, his blood will turn your legs back into a tail, and you will live again as a mermaid." She took the dagger and crept to the tent where the prince lay asleep beside his new bride. She looked down at him, the man she loved more than life itself. The blade trembled in her hand, but as the first light of dawn touched his peaceful face, she felt only a wave of overwhelming love and forgiveness. "No," she whispered in her heart, "I cannot harm him, even to save myself." She threw the dagger into the sea, and where it fell, the water turned crimson as if wounded. Then with a final loving look at the prince, she stepped to the ship's edge. As the sun rose over the horizon, she felt her body dissolving, turning into iridescent foam upon the waves. Yet the story does not end in sorrow. As her spirit lifted from the sea, she felt herself surrounded by bright, gentle, ethereal beings, the daughters of the air. They spoke to her softly, their voices like music. "Because you chose selfless love over bitterness and hate, you are not lost. You shall live as one of us, and through good deeds, through kindness to the world below, you will one day earn an immortal soul." The little mermaid felt a peace she had never known. Though she no longer belonged to the sea or the land, she had found her own path, a path of kindness, hope, and love everlasting. The Little Mermaid's tale teaches us that true love is not about gaining what we desire, but about giving without expecting anything in return. Her courage and sacrifice remind us that even the deepest pain can lead to light and transformation. And so, the sea whispers her story still, a story of love, loss, and the promise of a brighter dawn. Thank you for listening to Fairy Tale Fables. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to hear more timeless tales, told with heart and magic. The Little Mermaid, where love meets the sea and hope never fades.